let me quickly introduce you to the next speakers. So I met the next speakers around 1 year ago, my own journey as a coach, and Hassan and Alya sharing now in the next speech a very interesting case study of what actually coaching has changed in a specific organization. And I haven't met Hassan or Alya in person, but what I've heard from them for over 1 year is really amazing. And I'm really excited to hear that case study with you, a case study which shows what actually coaching can change. And Hassan, Alya, I leave you this stage. Feel free to take over and share the presentation.
Thank you, Daniel, and thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it, and would love to share with you this journey of Sharjah Police. To introduce myself, then my colleague, Lieutenant Alya. My name is Hassan. I'm a trainer in ICF program, so I train coaches, mentor coaches, and in my past life, I used to be an accountant. So it was a major shift for me personally, attending a coaching course and changing my whole career, and deciding to quit my job and focus full-time on coaching. And in that opportunity, I got to meet so many of beautiful people all around the world who are in love with coaching and spreading this. So I'll pass the mic to my colleague, Lieutenant Alya from Sharjah Police, to introduce herself, and we'll get going with the session. Coach Alya,
Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone. So I'm Lieutenant Alya Al-Sirkal. I am a director of learning branch in the HR department in Sharjah Police. And recently I got my ACC from the ICF. So we're gonna talk today, me and Coach Hassan, about the journey of how we implemented the culture of coaching in a police organization.
So if we are always gonna be, turning off the voices, you wouldn't be able to do it, in physical. You wouldn't be able to turn my voice off in physical unless you actually cut my throat. So what you did spiritually is you cut my throat.
I'm sorry, Natalia, you just cut our throat too. We're speaking here and you just cut off someone who's speaking. So I do understand that you want the chance to speak.
Thank you for seeing me now. Yes, that's what I do.
Yeah, well,
so when I show up,
I understand you have the right to speak, but we have the right to speak too.
I have a right. We all have a right. That's it. Thank you.
Exactly. So we respect that. Go ahead, Coach Alya.
So as I mentioned, that we're going to talk about how we implemented the culture of coaching in a police, organization. So we're going to start with the journey and how this journey started. It started actually with me by being introduced to what is coaching and what does coaching even mean. And then how we also designed a specific and tailored program just for Sharjah Police. And it was also this, we're going to discuss it as well with Coach Hassan. And what do we have next? And also how we incorporated the coaching with the culture of a police organization. So when we started at the beginning of my journey, actually, I didn't know what is coaching. So I was wondering, what's coaching? Is it a mentor? Is it being a consultant or a mentor or whatever? So what we did is that this is just like a brief of the journey, which I'm going to take you through it specifically. The next slide, please, Coach. So we started actually with the program. I took it with Coach Linda. And there I figured out what is coaching and how coaching not only is going to, affect or its benefit for people, but it's also how it benefits me as well. So after realizing what is coaching and how it's an eye-opener for me, I started thinking how it could help my fellow mates in Sharjah Police, especially when we have here in the United Arab Emirates, we have a national strategy of well-being. And this national strategy helps us to do more initiatives to help the individual and their physical, mental, and spiritual health. So the physical health, the spiritual health we need to take care of, but how we're going to do that. So here when we came up, why not we do an initiative that I call the Positive Coaching Initiative in Sharjah Police. And the first thing I did was actually to qualify a first batch of police officers to be coaches. Because as you know, in the police forces, there are a lot of, confidentiality and a lot of, our work is basically really stressful. But also we cannot talk to anyone about it. So if I could bring some people who we can talk to in a very easy way, and we can, consider them helpful for us, that's where I came with this idea to have the first batch of coaches. And we started in the beginning of 2020, and in spite of COVID and in spite of all, the circumstances that came, with the help also of the coach Hassan, we really made it, and we had our first batch. The second thing was the happiness indicators. The Ministry of Interior always, measures how people or how our employees are happy. So there is a lot of, questionnaires that comes from the Ministry of Interior. So what I did, I took these results from the MOI, I figured out and I analyzed where is the problem in which department, and we started doing coaching sessions for these departments who has the low happiness rate, just to know more how these people are feeling, what do they need, what can we do better in Sharjah Police to make them even more happy, which means they're going to be more productive. So we started doing group coaching sessions, we have individual sessions, and at the end we started evaluating it again. And thankfully by the end of now 2021, and that when we start, the range and the KPI is really going high, just because the people now they know that there are someone they can go to, they can talk to, especially to discuss all the anxieties, or let's say also the difficulties that they face. So, and after that we didn't stop here. Can we go to the next? We're working, or what we worked on is how to change also some of the policies of the HR department, because we don't want it to be just a one-time thing. We want it to be a procedure. So what we did is, any employee usually in a police force, if they did any minor or a major behavioral violations, they are sent to the police court. But we changed that, and what we did is that we said, no, we won't send them to the police court. We're going to send them to the coaches and give them around 5 to 8 sessions to discuss with them and give them a chance. If they repeated this violation, then they could, be sent to the police court. And also this procedure really helped us, because people, they knew they have a chance to, condemn themselves and, work on themselves, rather than just getting, punished right away. The other thing that we added, that any new employee in the first 3 months of their recruitment, we also set them to go to a coach, so that they could discuss their goals, their ambitions, what they want to do and how they want to do it. Because most of you, or all of you, when we graduate from college and we go to work, we have all these big dreams, but maybe we don't know how to amplify them, or how to do them, in the organization. And by coaching these people, we're helping them to, achieve their goals and achieve what they actually dream of. Next slide, coach. Also, we didn't stop there. Even in 2021, what we did in addition, actually, the police organization, the nature of our organization is just based on orders. So it's like, yes, sir, no, sir. What we added is that let's add just a little bit of coaching flavor into this environment. So what we did, we created a new program with the help of Coach Hassan. It's leadership and coaching programs. for managers and high-ranked officers. We're trying to show them when they could, act as leaders and when they could act as a coach with their team, with their employees, because, we needed to add some sort of empathy in the environment, so that it won't be just, strict and just, all formal, because at the end of the day, these employees are humans and we need to manage their mental health, their emotion as well, and not just the professional side. So we did around 7 programs, 7 courses of this program in 2021, and all of our directors and deputy directors entered this course, and really we changed a lot of mindsets during this program as well. So our journey started with a dream, or it started with a seed, let's say, that we trained coaches internally in 2022. And then we started in 2021, we trained leaders to think more as coaches and leaders at the same time, to increase the happiness and the well-being of the employees. And now we're integrating coaching culture inside the Sharjah Police organization by, creating policies, procedures, and training managers for superiors and managers and leaders in Sharjah Police. And now we're also spreading this culture by actually, doing these kind of, meetings and joining these forums. And one of them that we actually also proud of, that we did also an event with the Delhi Police in India. And we showed them our journey and our experience in that. And now they're taking it also forward there in India. And also we did a lot of, events in with Russia, ICF Russia. We did with a lot of university, because we know that if we could change the mindset, or we could change the idea of one person, it's going to help a lot of people in the future.
Thank you, Coach Alya. And for my part, to discuss the part which is designing the program, an ICF certified program. But before that, and we get into the nitty-gritty part, when we think of police, especially let's think about 2019, 2020, there's an outroar all around the world where police are looked at in not the safe environment that we used to think of. When we were kids, when we think of police, we think that, yeah, feeling safe, etc. But that wasn't really what's happening around the world. So when we were speaking with ICF India and with the police general, they said we have a big problem, that people don't view the police in a good manner. And this is one of the ideas that we really worked on with Sharjah Police. It's about working with the community. It's not only security, it's about spreading social work. There's a lot of items that are in there. But for me, for someone who's not in a police force and never worked in the military, we really needed to understand the police before we start such a big project. And to understand the police, as Stephen Covey says, seek to understand before you're understood. If I'm paraphrasing correctly, that's one of his rules in the 7 habits. And to understand the police generally live truly in a VUCA environment. It's volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, it's ambiguous. And that's where the business term comes, VUCA. It comes from the military in the 1990s in the Gulf War. And the American Army came up with this term because it's an uncertain environment. And that's the reason there's a command and control in the police. So we needed to understand them and not judge them and say, this is not the coaching way. You need to change the way you do your business. We really wanted to understand, where is this stemming from? And how could we complement it and not tell them, let's cancel everything that you're doing and let's start something new. We want them to use coaching as a tool. Like Abraham Maslow says, if the only tool you have is a hammer, you tend to look at every problem as a nail. So we wanted really to give them more tools, and that plan that Lieutenant Alya explained. So step number 1, understand our audience. what language do they speak? And I'm not speaking figuratively. Their actual language, they speak Arabic. I'm sure a lot of you heard of Sharjah, but to let you know, Sharjah is one of the Emirates of the UAE, which is right next to Dubai. So I live in Dubai, Lieutenant Ali is in Sharjah, it's 30-minute drive. So it's like a different state, if I may, or a different province. So in that part of the world, where it's a very multicultural country, where 10% of the people are the nationals, are the citizens, and almost 90 people are expats, people coming from different places all around the world, coming in this melting pot of a country. And for us to understand this, the police themselves focus on Arabic. So we wanted to make sure we deliver programs in the native language, which wasn't easy because I'm personally from Arab origins. However, Arabic is not an easy language. And I'm sure for any bilingual or trilingual individuals in this session, it's not easy to translate mindfulness. It's not easy to translate a word like metaphor. It is a challenge to get the right, correct information. And that's why we reached to the ICF. We made sure we're using the correct language. And we made sure the core competencies are there. We understood the police. We understood the audience that we have. And the audience we had was multicultural. Sorry, they were mainly Emiratis, UAE nationals, but they're in different disciplines. So we had people who do social work, deal with drug addicts, we had people dealing with family issues. So the police have a sector where they go to different communities and support the communities. So if you have any issues. So all of these different disciplines were applying coaching. Coaching, the team that we trained initially, you would find people who are in the DEA, people who are in the special investigations, forensic labs, and in the prisons, which are the term, I call it prisons. I'm a bit old school in Hollywood. I think the term is the punitive corrective facilities, if I'm correct, Lieutenant Alya. And I'll share with you one of the stories. As you all know, in coaching, we believe that the client or the individual in front of us is naturally creative and complete and capable of coming up with their own answers. Now, imagine training that to a police officer who's in charge of the prisons, as I call them. And he truly embraced that. And what he started doing is sitting down with the prisoners and going through a coaching session. And he had big files on his desk and doing coaching sessions to them. And he told me, Hassan, when I talk to them, I assure you, they did their mistake. They're serving their, whatever the court asked them to serve. But I truly believe when they sit in that room, I take off my hat. If I can take off my jacket, the official police jacket, and I sit with them. And I truly believe that they are complete, they are creative, they're capable to change their life. And that for me really moved me. And I felt that this is something that I'm very proud as a project. So that's what we worked with the police. And then the journey just keeps going. And I can't say more than what Lieutenant Alya said of the whole process. Leaders are using coaching as a tool. We're telling them, it's a new tool. You can use it, you can help people. Picture this, imagine, I think most of you are coaches, some of you might be employees in companies. Imagine the worst manager that you've ever seen in an organization. And just think of that for a second. And think, what if that person was a trained executive or life coach? What if my manager is my coach? And we're not saying that they would substitute the coaches. No, but they're using coaching in performance management, in talking to you, in just communication in general, and brainstorming everything. And if you wanted a coach outside your chain of command, then yes, you just approach Lieutenant Alya with an email, and they're working on a system where you just click, you look at the coach's bio, and you pick the coach, you have your chemistry meeting, and you have a session. And then we're not going to stop there. We'll keep going to spread the word. So I hope we didn't take much of your time, and we want to hear from you. So we just wanted to share this journey and hear from you. Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't look at the question. So
Yes, Hassan, there's like one question from you. Can you share a few surprises that you experienced along the way, like counterintuitive surprises?
yeah, that's interesting. Lieutenant Ali, anything from your side? I have a couple from my side. Can we unmute? Yes.
Yeah. So I think what mainly surprised me is that how some of the managers that we worked with at the beginning, maybe they were against the whole idea of coaching, and they were like, it's just, you know, a new trend happening in the country. It's not something, you know, let's say that we could take it and make it a base that we could work on. But after, you know, these people, what I did with them is that I told them, okay, let's sit and let me coach you. So after, you know, a couple of coaching sessions, their, you know, their idea of coaching has changed. And also after when they met Coach Hassan and they entered the program, the training program, their you know, their idea has changed completely, because even now when they're talking, they're actually using some of the coaching competencies now. So these things are, you know, quite surprising for me, because some of them, they're really like they've completed maybe more than 30 years in Sharjah Police. So, you know, they're like really high-ranked officers. So you sometimes you find it difficult to change their mind, but they changed it with the help of coaching. So this is what's surprisingly for me, that they adapted with this culture.
From my perspective, honestly, two things. The story that I shared with you about the officer who works in the prisons was something that really moved me and was a surprise, because I'm sure all of you know this is a ranking system, not even within the police. You're talking about the police and the policeman or the policewoman and the prisoner. But another story that moved me is one of the social workers, where she used to deal with a drug addict, and she was trying to use coaching rather than, you know, counseling, etc., or using a coaching conversation. And she said, you know what? I realized for the first time that I always walked into that room judging this person. And right now I'm walking in and I truly believe that there is no judgment and this person can, you know, change his life and get over it. We're not saying to substitute what she was doing, but why not have the coaching conversations? So we're not saying coaching is the remedy for everything, but the coaching conversations are. Another thing that really supported this project, and I have to say, is that leadership. And here I thank Lieutenant Alya for the hard work she did, because leadership, the general commander, really supported us. If we didn't get the support of leadership, and I've implemented such programs with a lot of entities throughout Europe, the Middle East, and if you don't get the top management, the leadership, believe in this program, believe in what it is, then the culture is not going to work, because you need to change it from the top. And we try to do kind of train the junior lieutenants and train the leaders and just, you know, spread the coaching culture. So yeah, very good question. Thank you for asking that question. How many people are gonna Google Sharjah after this session? Try to find us on the map. Mary, I see.
So yeah, probably a lot will Google and look directly online where Sharjah will be located. Great.
Well, thank you, Daniel. We really appreciate it, and thank you all. I hope you enjoyed this session, and what our message is not what we are doing in Sharjah Police. We really want this coaching culture to spread around the world, and that's why we make sure we're coming to all these conferences and spreading the word. And I'm sure you could do even more work in that. Let's just spread this, you know, the concept of empathy, of listening. Most of us don't listen, and just support each other. And thank you very much. And sorry for we took some extra time. Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks, Hassan, and thanks, Alya. Thank you so much for your case study. And as you say, like, it's all about believing in it as well, and creating a coaching culture also takes time. But seeing that your success story over time as well shows that it's worth starting, and no matter how difficult it can be in the beginning. And thank you so much for both of you for your time and for the great case study. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was our pleasure.
Thank you.